Hello, everybody. Here at One Hit Thunder, we're committed to creating the best experience for our listeners. To help us learn more about you and what you want to hear, please head to surveymonkey.com/r/FPZY5JQ to take a short survey. Your feedback helps us improve the show and supports the sponsors who make this show possible. As a thank you, you'll be entered into our monthly drawing to win one of two $50 gift cards. If you want a chance to win one, go ahead and grab a pen and jot down this address: surveymonkey.com/r/FPZY5JQ. And thanks for helping us grow the show. In the summer of 1982, the punky, upbeat sound of Bow Wow Wow's cover of I Want Candy served as the perfect complement to both the warm weather and the music revolution that was MTV. The band was fronted by the very young Annabella Lwin, whose energy, style, and mohawk made her as memorable as the song itself. It was the controversial vision of fashion designer, manager, lyricist, and provocateur Malcolm McLaren that helped propel the band to stardom. But once they achieved success, he grew bored and moved on. The band's demise soon followed, leaving a legacy of quirky music and questionable choices to discuss. This week, we're joined by accomplished podcaster Alex Goldman to do just that and decide if we can separate the art from the child exploitation.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
All right, Alex, I'm excited to have you back on the show, man. You're a prolific podcaster, and last time you were here, we talked about what's their name? Already forgot.
JJ Fad.
JJ Fad.
Oh,
yeah.
JJ Fad, that's right.
That is right. And today we're talking about Bow Wow Wow, which is kind of a way different type of episode today. I got to tell you guys, man, did I go deep in my research, because this is such an interesting situation, and there's some real salacious stuff along the way.
There's a little bit of sleaze in the story of Bow Wow Wow.
Well, I mean, Malcolm McLaren was involved, right? So, like, it has to have a certain level of sort of nasty exploitative sleaziness.
Yes. And Malcolm McLaren, to be honest, like where I arrived with, we're going to talk about him a lot because this is really his brainchild. And it's kind of like once he was out of the picture, that was kind of the end. Because for anyone who doesn't know, Malcolm McLaren is kind of the reason we all have this, when someone says to you like punk rocker, like what you picture in your head, the style of like what this person looks like. Malcolm McLaren is kind of the visionary behind that.
Yeah, he's very responsible. Well, him and his wife, right?
Vivian Westwood. Who was a fashion designer, but very much the look of what you think of with punk, and kind of like he was a big part of the Sex Pistols. Like he was the mastermind behind them, and kind of, I don't know the entire story of the Sex Pistols, which as a guy in a punk rock band, that kind of probably sounds blasphemous, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of what we think about them was kind of the mind of Malcolm McLaren, like kind of pulling the strings of that whole thing.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that with every band that crossed his path, there's like no love lost. People are not big fans. He did not. I don't get the impression that he treated people super well.
Well, I mean, literally the story of this band begins with him convincing three musicians to drop the dead weight that is their lead vocalist to form a new band. That lead vocalist that he convinced them that they didn't need was Adam Ant, who obviously went on to have a much more successful solo career than Bow Wow Wow ever had. Right out the gate, he's kind of fucking these three dudes.
Well, Adam Ant, we should start with that, who he convinced Adam Ant's whole band, like, hey, leave that guy and do this instead. And Adam Ant went on to have a successful career, probably, like Matt said, more, at least in charts or whatever, more successful than Bow Wow Wow. So,
yeah. But the whole thing. So I happen to be quite a strong Adam Ant fan.
Okay,
and right at the sort of beginning of his career, he came up with this thing that he called the Burundi beat. Which is which is the first thing you hear in I Want Candy.
Yes, it sure is.
It's basically that mixed with a Bo Diddley beat. That's like it's the entire backbone of this hit song. But then keeping with famous people that almost were part of this. Chris, did you read who was almost the lead singer of Bow Wow Wow?
That comes a little later. Save that, because that's important. Because actually, the Wikipedia of this, Matt, bringing up who you're bringing up, they were a little bit wrong, because I watched an entire documentary on Bow Wow Wow.
Wow.
He comes into play later. Man, this band has such an interesting story, because the band is basically Adam and the Ants. It's the Ants from Adam and the Ants. And these guys, I gotta say, are rippers. Dave Barbarossa, aka Dave Barb, he plays like these, like what Alex was talking about, like African influenced rhythms that, and I will say, they give Malcolm credit for saying, like, hey, don't focus so much on the snare drum. Instead, the toms are going to be a big part of our sound. Like, that was, man, Malcolm really, as an artist, kind of knowing what was going to set the bands apart that he was working with. And he was right here, because there is a very signature sound, and it is that. Like, there's a lot of toms going on in these drum beats, but everybody in this band, super good. And they do have a very signature sound, which is like somewhere between punk rock and, I don't know, like Latin influenced music or like African rhythms or something. There's something that very much sets them apart.
One of the things that I feel like happened in the sort of post 70s era, like in the mid to late 80s, is the idea of what punk rock became really standardized to be a very specific sound. But like, when you hear what bands were called punk rock back in the day, it's like Talking Heads, Suicide, which was like two guys who would try and fight the audience and had a couple oscillators and drum machines going. There was like I don't know, the Minutemen, who sort of sound like a bunch of Southern California stoners. Like punk rock encompassed much more of an attitude than a particular style of music. And
I think like one of the ones I always think of is Devo, right? Like, I remember hearing the infamous story of Devo playing a show and the crowd was like not into it. So they just played the Are We Not Men, We Are Devo song for 30 straight minutes just to get the crowd even more pissed. Like, the crowd was like losing their mind, and they just kept that chant going for the entirety of their set until, like, I think they said, like, literally the crowd was starting to climb on the stage and start unplugging them, and then they were like, all right, we need to go. but like, that to me is more of, that CBGB's just like scrappy, fuck the audience, we're going to play what we want to, was punk before it suddenly became, I want to say, like the 80s hardcore scene really is when you get that gatekeeping of like what defines punk. Like,
when I think of the standardized version of punk, and I say this not to denigrate the band at all, I think like Operation Ivy onwards. I'm like, okay, that is what people started thinking of punk as being. Like, maybe a little bit of ska, but generally really loud and fast.
Distorted guitars. I think of everybody as an offshoot of like what the Ramones sounded like in one way or another. However complex you want to get with it, it is a lot of 4-piece or 5-piece bands, loud guitars, fast drums, and then when the 90s came along, it was very much like, the the no effects style, the Southern California style of like fast. They call that the forbidden beat is what it's called amongst like my peers and stuff, is that fast beat or whatever. But what you guys were saying is when it started, you had bands even like X or something where you had folky sounding songs, or a band like Diva or whatever. It was more an attitude, and it was more of like being different from the mainstream. And it was it wasn't necessarily the way the music sounded, because you had a wide array of sounds, but more the we're not making pop mainstream music. And probably a reaction to think about, I like this music, but think about like a lot of late 70s, early 80s, where you had like the yacht, what we call yacht rock now, that was popular.
Yeah, it was like the yacht rock and the disco happening at that point.
For sure.
I was thinking about this at the time the other day, because I was driving around listening to the first Violent Femmes album. And like that album, I don't think people would immediately say like, oh, that's a punk album, because it's like acoustic guitars and stuff. But there is so much of that like 70s and early 80s snark and anger in like the voice, and the music gets so chaotic, even though it's an acoustic bass and a snare drum, basically. Like, I'm like, oh no, this is punk as fuck still, even if it's just a 3-piece band with acoustic instruments. Like it is that attitude piece. But you're right. I think Bow Wow Wow. Is it 3 wows or 2 wows, Chris? I'm going to struggle with this. 2
Bow Wow
wows.
Wow.
Okay. Bow Wow Wow. You mentioned the Ramones, and like for sure, because I think the Ramones, when you bring the Ramones into the punk conversation, I've always made the argument that opens this whole other door of like, well, if the Ramones is the beginning of punk and the Ramones were basically just doing 50s rock and roll but a little bit faster, does that then retroactively make you look at all these other 50s rock and roll guys and be like, well, this is the seeds of punk? I bring that up because Bow Wow Wow, specifically with a song like I Want Candy, is a very like 50s and 60s rock and roll
looking
song.
Backwards.
It's true. In all of this, the Ants, leading Adam and the Ants, they're starting this new band. Malcolm McLaren is the guy with the vision. Now, that's not taking anything away from these players, but Malcolm saw something in these players and also knew that in his vision as an artist. Now, I watched interviews with Malcolm where he's referencing other controversial, to a certain extent, artists such as Andy Warhol or Keith Haring, or these people that were not just the music, but the whole vision, the way it looked, the way that people perceived it, and of course the music too. In fact, Malcolm McLaren is the main lyricist of the band, which I thought was
okay.
Yes, Malcolm is writing the lyrics for this band, and also he has the vision of the lead singer of this band. He does not want it to be a straight white guy. You got a couple of them in the band already. He wants it to be, a black person, a gay person, whatever, anything but a straight white guy is basically what he wanted. And then enter Annabella Lwin, who is a 13-year-old who a friend of Malcolm McLaren, a talent scout named Dave Fischel, heard Annabella Lwin singing along to the radio, singing along to, I think, Stevie Wonder at a dry...
I heard ABBA.
Oh, ABBA?
I heard it was an ABBA song.
Okay. Singing along at a dry cleaner where she worked. She's working at 13 years old, which is interesting. And he persuaded Malcolm McLaren to audition her. Now, Annabella, she was originally born in Burma, but she lived in London with her single mother and her siblings. And, dude, I got to tell you guys, it's so funny. I watched a interview of Annabella Lwin, and she was probably at this point in her 30s or something, maybe even 40s, and like looking back on this time. And I don't know what this interview is from, but what was so funny to me is sitting next to her as who must have been, I don't know if he was a co-host or like another guest, but sitting next to her was Greg Turkington, a.k.a.
What?
Yeah, Neil Hamburger was sitting next to her. I have no idea. He's just not saying anything. I don't know why he was also on this interview, but just a weird aside.
Really funny.
For anyone who's familiar with the On Cinema universe, that would be Greg Turkington from On Cinema. I don't know why he was there. But she was talking about this, and so that's where she said, Matt, the thing about she thought she was singing to Stevie Wonder or something.
Okay.
But, yeah, he auditions her this young. So these guys in this band, they're in their 20s at this point. They're still pretty young. Mm-hmm. But can you guys imagine playing in a band with a 13-year-old?
Can you imagine playing in a band as a 13-year-old?
Yeah,
No.
As whenever I did research on this, because I've done research on this band twice. We almost did this episode like years ago. The thing that keeps coming up every time I look into this band is like nobody was happy with this setup. Like the band of 20-year-olds did not want to be playing in a band with a 13-year-old girl that was just handed to them as their vocalist. And I feel like on Annabelle's end, she was like, everyone treated me like a kid, so I didn't get a say in much. I didn't get credit for stuff that I did. Like, she kind of got the short end of the stick as well in that situation. And that, I mean, we're going to get there eventually, but by the time we start getting to like album covers and stuff, they're really getting weird with this 13-year-old girl. But
we'll get to that.
I think that's still Malcolm. I think it's back to Malcolm again on that one.
But also, this story is so wild because it sounds like fake or something. It sounds like something from a movie. She's singing along to the radio at the dry cleaners where she works as a 13-year-old.
I mean, that kind of stuff just happened back in the day. Like, what's his name? Big Bank Hank was working at a pizza place, and the people who were making the Rapper's Delight came in and were like, hey, do you want to rap on this? And he was like, well, I'm not a rapper, but I know this guy who is. And he went to Grandmaster Kaz and was like, hey, man, can I borrow your notebook? And he was like, why? And he was like, well, I got asked to make a rap record. And he was like, this isn't a rap record. No one's ever going to listen to a record of rap. Take it.
Right.
And then what's it called? Like Chloe Sevigny was discovered sitting on a stoop. And someone was like, hey, you want to be in a movie?
Right.
So, you know, I think that used to be possible. I'm still waiting for that to happen to me. I think that it could happen any day now.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens, but I guess she had a certain way about her and probably a certain look about her or something, but 13 is just so freaking young.
It's
crazy.
So young. And I agree with you, Chris, that I think it had to be more of a look. Not to say that she's a bad singer, you know what I mean? But she's not, it's not like you're hearing like a young Mariah Carey sing like a crazy, like multi-octave vocal range and going, oh, this person's bound to be a star. Like she's an adequate singer for a new wavy band. Mm-hmm. So I think it was that she had this very cool, punky look for this 13-year-old girl, and they said, "There's the image. We found the." I think they were looking for a front person more than they were looking for a singer, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, and obviously, you know, Malcolm knew what he was doing, and I gotta say, we're gonna get into some weird stuff here in this episode, but in all the interviews I watched, the documentary or whatever, we look back on some of the stuff that is happening and with the perspective of now and be like, ugh. Annabella never in any of these interviews, I mean, she could say that, like, you know, Malcolm McLaren, he was weird and kind of a dick and kind of whatever, but never is there an accusation of like him being like a sexual creep or anything like that. I mean, that it just seems more like he was a provocateur and knew how to, like a lot of great artists, build things up and then once they were built up, destroy them.
Oh yeah. I mean, for all of the complaints I've ever heard about him, he was with Vivienne Westwood from like 1960 something until their deaths. So I don't get the impression he was a sex creep. He was just like, let's see how I can make a little more money kind of guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And a pot stir. He wanted to see how much I feel like he's one of those dudes who really believed in the concept of controversy equals cash.
Right. Yeah, he was right.
I mean,
he was right.
I mean, that's why that's why he put the New York Dolls in Nazi armbands and stuff. Like he knew that, and it worked for the most part. I mean, I'm sure he cleaned house with the Sex Pistols.
Yeah. I mean, instantly, so they get Annabella. Instantly, Malcolm and Vivian knew what look to give Bow Wow Wow. It was kind of like pirates mixed with punk, like they had a swashbuckler look or something. And at some point here, Annabella got her signature mohawk haircut, which, I mean, I just recently, they talked about this on the Counting Crows doc, if you watch that on HBO. Adam's dreadlocks were like something where it was like, oh, it's that guy. You're that guy from that band. People knew the guy with the mohawks more than they may have known the name of the band or what song they sang. Same kind of idea here. It's probably something that when I look back at like my band's career, maybe we could have taken a shot at, like, we've always just been like normal dudes trying to write good songs. Never took a shot at like a weird look. But like this band, before they even had a song, they had a look. They had a vision about them. And that was Malcolm's full 360 view of this band.
Right.
But anyway, they signed to EMI in July of 1980, and they released their first single. Now, I'm curious if you guys listen to this song. It's a song called C30, C60, C90 Go, which,
yes,
wow.
I have heard that song.
Yeah. Interesting name for a song. And I'm like, what the fuck is this name of this song? But then I watched the documentary and I'm like, oh, it was the first single ever released on cassette. And C30.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. The first single.
Yes. C30, C60, C90 were the different like
lengths of cassette at the time?
Qualities of cassettes. And there were two songs on one side of this and the other side was blank. And they encouraged people to tape the radio. That was like a new thing, like taping the radio. This is like music piracy, like the beginnings of it. And they were encouraging it. They were telling
the
people.
Dead Kennedys did that shortly afterward too. They left the side of one of their albums blank, and wrote on the tape something like, "Please use this side of the cassette for piracy."
Yeah. And literally the song is about pirating. Like literally the lyrics of the song, she talks about like putting the tape in and capturing her favorite songs as they play on the radio. Like it's literally giving you instructions on how to record songs fresh off the radio.
C30, C60, C90 Go. Off the radio, I get a constant flow. Hit it, pause it, record it, and play. Turn it, rewind, and rub it away is one of the verses of this song. And it's one of these things, Alex, we experienced this so much on this show, where especially early 80s. This song was like a minor hit. It hit number 34 in the UK on the singles chart, and it stayed there for 7 weeks. If you listen to this song, it's like, oh my God, how was this on any chart? Like, I like it. I think it's cool, but it's like thinking of this being in the mainstream in any way, it's like mind-boggling.
The British public of like the late 70s and early 80s were making hits out of the weirdest stuff. Like, Superman by Laurie Anderson.
I don't know that song, but okay.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is a song that is a tape loop of her going, ha, 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 and then singing about, singing it almost in the style of leaving a voicemail on her mom's answering machine.
Okay.
It's pure art rock. And it was like a minor hit in the UK. And it's also like 6 minutes long.
Right. We saw stuff like this. Matt and I did an episode recently, the past year or two, about the band Soft Cell. Now, we all know Tainted Love. If you dive deeper into that band's back catalog, there is some of the most unlistenable music that you could imagine. And some of these songs were hits in the UK. And we're like, how is this possible?
Sex Dwarf.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, you know your shit.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the first songs I ever downloaded off of Napster because I was like, there's a song called Sex Dwarf? That's hilarious.
So Bow Wow Wow at this point, they're pissing off EMI, but they are gaining some traction. And I think, once again, Malcolm maybe pulling some strings. Somehow John Peel was convinced that Bow Wow Wow should do a session. And in October of 1980, they released a cassette-only mini album called Your Cassette Pet. It was 8 tracks, only available on cassette, not available on vinyl. And there was one notorious track from this album that was called Sexy Eiffel Tower. And just like kind of what you were saying, Alex, this song contains suggestive moaning and heavy breathing, which was performed by Annabella, who, keep in mind, she's like 14 years old. So already we're building the definitely weird, like, sexualization of a child at this point. So it's the early 80s. Things are weird. Some of this stuff is happening. Once again, I will say Annabella, who said there was definitely like some power dynamic stuff and some weird stuff. Never is she saying that anyone is like, it's more like exploitative and not like someone was doing anything to her physically.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, I've heard her complain more about the fact that she wrote a handful of the songs on the albums, but McLaren got all of the songwriting credit. Like I've heard her complain more about that like her creativity was constantly being stomped out or just straight up stolen. And like, you know, you're 14, you don't know any better about it, but now as an adult looking back and being like, well, that sucks. Yeah. Like there's royalties that, and I think she said, like, it's been 30 years, there's nothing I can do about this at this point. Like, but it sucks that like everything that I worked on, I have 0 credit for anywhere on it now.
Yeah. Well, this band's building cred, though. So that C30, C60, C90 Go song and that Your Cassette Pet album, NME loved them. NME were kind of like the taste-making magazine of the time. And now Bow Wow Wow has this reputation of being like anti-capitalist. They have a DIY ethos, even though they were on a pretty big label. This album, if you check it out, Your Cassette Pet, it's like a mix of like screaming and squealing and chants and surfy music and like some poppy melodies in there, funk bass, tom drum beats, obviously. People don't know like what to consider them. Of course, we're calling them punk, but you could call them new wave, you could call them pop, you could call them even like world beat music. They're all over the place stylistically, but in general, like pretty punk rock. They had a second single. Dude, the titles of their songs and albums are so funny too, because like, I guess they're attention grabbing, but as far as like remembering the names of the songs, they are the complete opposite. Because the second single from this album is called WORK NO Nah No No My Daddy Don't. Yeah, this song.
I respect the hustle.
Yeah, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, this song didn't chart, and then they were dropped by EMI. This song, I made a note of it. It's pretty funky. throw some funk into the mix, but I got to tell you guys, I would only know this because I watched this documentary. So before they got dropped, Malcolm told them, now keep in mind, they are like pretty mild-mannered people. They are not like rowdy people, which you might think they were from their stage show, but they're pretty like nice musicians or whatever. Malcolm told them that they should storm the EMI offices and make a scene. So kind of like whatever. This was like something Malcolm was advising them to do. So they went into EMI, smashed a window, threw Beatles albums out the window, got kicked out, and they got kicked out. They got dragged out of the place, and they felt weird about it. They were like, Malcolm like convinced us to do that, but that wasn't our nature to do that. And EMI drops them. But I think probably because of this, what they did, they pretty quickly got signed to RCA at this point. And yeah, right. Malcolm is really pulling the strings, man. He knows exactly how to dress them, what they should sound like. He's writing the lyrics. He's telling them to like do these things that like they wouldn't do otherwise. So
yeah. And this is also at a time where I feel like the way that journalists write about music matters, right? So like if a magazine is writing about how like minor celebrities bow wow like stormed EMI's offices, like that's going to be something that's grabbing everyone's attention in the recording industry to be like, we got to know more about this band. And Chris, we're building up to my favorite fact about this band, which is that they put out their first full-length album in RCA with the very easy to remember title, See Jungle, Go Join Your Gang, yeah, city all over, go ape crazy.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, that's a great name.
It is so, but it's attention grabbing. That's the thing. Every step of the way, they're doing things that grab your attention. They're also, I got to give them credit. They were road dogs. They were touring a lot. They had a great live show. They played the first ever MTV New Year's Eve party. Annabella, at this point, she's getting fired and rehired from the band multiple times, but they could never find a good replacement. Now we'll get to what Matt wanted to talk about, because
this is fucked up. Yeah.
Because, well, we'll get to the fucked up thing in a second. This isn't that fucked up. They even added a second singer around this time, George Allen O'Dowd, a.k.a. Boy George.
What?
Yeah. Boy George was briefly one of the singers in this band before, he decided that he was going to form a different little group called Culture Club.
Right. Yeah. So they brought him in. There was a brief stint where it was Annabella and Boy George because a big part of it, and this is going to come into play in the next thing we're going to talk about, Annabella's mother started becoming a problem. And man, this poor woman, her 13, 14-year-old daughter is playing in this rock band that is being run by this crazy Malcolm McLaren guy. And she was a single mother, too. And
I'd become a problem, too, in that situation.
Of course. But they thought that maybe Annabella was going to get pulled away from the band completely. So Boy George, also a great front person for a band, that was kind of a backup plan. It didn't last very long. But this album, See Jungle, Go Join Your Gang, yeah, city all over, go ape crazy. A big thing that caused a ton of controversy.
Like police investigation level controversy.
Was the album cover for this album. It was a recreation of a famous Manet painting. And it is like a verbatim recreation of this painting. But it features the then 14-year-old Annabella Lwin posing nude with her side turned toward the camera and her arm and leg positioned strategically like it is in the original painting. But man, okay, I'm going to tell you guys what Annabella said about it, is that Malcolm was more concerned about like the positions of the cherries in the fruit bowl than he was with her being naked on the cover. Meaning he was trying to recreate this famous piece of art, and he was thinking about it artistically. And I'm sure he was thinking about the controversy and the attention that it would draw. It doesn't, on his part, seem to be like a sexual thing, but man, who are we kidding here? What?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah.
bonkers.
Did you hear the story about how the mom found out about this photo shoot?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so the story that I heard was from one of the guys in the band. And they did this without consulting Annabelle's mom.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And Malcolm was like, you should show her the album cover. She'll love it.
Right.
Convince the guys in the band. He wouldn't show it to her. So the guys are like, check out our new album cover. And she does what any parent would do in that situation and goes ballistic. And their account of the story was, and then Malcolm just kind of scurried away.
Yeah.
Like he just set them up to get hellfire for his idea. And then he pieced the fuck out and let them deal with the mom being pissed off about it. And she called Scotland Yard to investigate what happened on that photo shoot because obviously her child is naked in front of a bunch of men that she didn't know was going to happen.
Right.
That's totally fucked up. And I think what they ended up doing to keep her in the band was he had to promise that from that point on, they were no longer going to promote her as this Lolita sex kitten type character, that she was just going to be a singer and that they were going to downplay what they had been really pushing in these previous albums.
Which was a lie, because they totally did that for the rest of their career. Hey there, One Hit Thunder listeners. Are you ready to take your music to the next level? Well, get ready to rock, because this episode is brought to you by DistroKid, the ultimate digital music distribution service for artists like you. With DistroKid, you can easily upload your songs or albums to online stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, reaching fans all around the globe. But that's just the beginning. DistroKid offers a ton of awesome features like Hyperfollow, which helps you promote your releases and get pre-saves on your songs, all for free. But wait, there's more. The DistroKid app is now available on iOS and Android. With the app, you can manage your releases, track your streaming stats, and even withdraw your earnings, all from the palm of your hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. This powerful tool allows you to put the finishing touches on your tracks in minutes, ensuring they sound polished and professional every time. But that's not all. DistroKid has just launched a brand new feature called Instant Share, allowing you to easily share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more. With Instant Share, you can keep your music streaming at the highest quality while making the best impression possible. So what are you waiting for? Elevate your music career today with DistroKid and unlock a world of possibilities. Possibilities that I know all about because I've been using DistroKid for years. It's seriously great. If you haven't used it before, you're going to love it. And One Hit Thunder listeners get an exclusive offer, 30% off your first year with DistroKid by signing up at distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder. That's distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
I'm thinking about being in this situation. I to a certain extent have sympathy for the band members to a certain extent too, because they are also, seems like, puppets,
just pawns.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm one of these band members, and I'm
I'll
at
be
this,
what the fuck are we doing?
I'm at this photo shoot, and there's this naked child, and I think at some point I'd be like, oh, what the fuck are we? Wait a second, what is going on here? What are we doing? And so I can't. And I feel like to a certain extent in this conversation, I have sort of tried to downplay Malcolm McLaren as he's just a shit stirrer and an artist and not a.
But this is a big step too far.
Well, I'm gonna
this is a massive step too far.
I'm gonna tell you guys something else that I learned from the documentary that's gonna make him sound even worse.
Oh, great.
Is as if the album cover and what had to happen for the album cover to happen isn't bad enough.
Yeah.
Malcolm McLaren's next idea for then promotion of the album was to make something called Chicken Magazine, which was a 16-page magazine that would be stapled to the cassette and featured Annabella and kids younger than her in the nude. And
Jesus Christ.
at that point, the band put their foot down and said, no, we're not doing that. But that was his idea of how to promote the album even further. And I can't explain, like, now with a 2026 lens, especially with like the everything that, you know, the global cabal of this pedophile ring that is in our faces every day and whatever, I'm like trying to put myself back in like the early 80s and be like, okay, is this like something that's not as prevalent and it's more like like
there was a lot of shit like this back then, though.
I mean,
like you look
late
at
70s, early 80s was like Jimmy Page was dating a 14-year-old. David Bowie was dating a 15-year-old. Like that stuff was going on.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, one of you can fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure that like My Sharona is about a 16-year-old girl, and like the album single was her in a wet t-shirt. Like they, for whatever reason, this is actually probably the most that someone has given a shit about anything related to this in 1981, because it felt like, you know, that's just what people do. Like, it's fucking weird. I mean, it goes all the way back to the 50s, right? Like,
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis, like marrying his 12-year-old cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking, it is insane what musicians got away with back then, and just in everything. I mean, in all forms of society. But yeah, I'm actually like, to me, I'm like, fucking good on her mom for just being like trying to protect her daughter. The irony is that according to Annabelle, this caused such a rift between her and her mom that they did not speak for years over this, because Annabelle was like, you're ruining my career.
That
like,
sucks.
Yeah, it's not great.
I can't imagine what her mom went through at this point. And Annabella, to all her credit or whatever, you watch interviews with her, she's a very cool person. And
he's really cool and very well adjusted as an adult.
Yes.
Like, that's the other reason why I'm like, I do believe her that nothing nefarious happened outside of how sleazy all this is, because she is just like so well adjusted and chill in every interview that you see with her. Like you said, most of her trauma is more like, I kept getting fired from this band and then rehired by this band.
Well, what's so funny is she's so young. She's a kid. She is a child in this band, and she didn't even want to be a singer. She was pulled out of obscurity working at a dry cleaner, and she wanted to be an air stewardess. And I saw interviews with her where she's like, I'm in this band. I still want to be an air stewardess. So she's doing this. She's fronting this like popular rock band, but she's still a child who has dreams of being an air stewardess. Like, this is how young she is, where, you know, any of us would realize, oh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. She's got one foot in being an air stewardess this whole time.
Yeah. Let's get to where the hit is, though, Chris, because after all this, they put out an EP that features I Want Candy, a cover song. So this is another one of the many bands that got famous off of a cover song. But this song is shockingly not the hit that you would think it was in America.
Right.
Alex, let me ask you a question. How high on the charts would you guess I Want Candy got?
6.
Close. 62 is what it peaked at.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
MTV.
Like a song this massive, it's like, oh, that song did nothing on the actual Billboard charts, but the music video and MTV really made this thing soar for people.
Right. Yeah, this is, It peaked at number 62 on July 3rd of 1982. The number one song at this moment, when I Want Candy hit its number 62 peak, was Don't You Want Me from the Human League. Some other songs that were popular at this moment: Rosanna from Toto, Ebony and Ivory from Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder, Heat of the Moment from Asia. We just had Jeff Downs from Asia on Krista Makes a Podcast to talk about writing that song, Heat of the Moment.
Nice.
Hurts So Good from John Cougar was popular at this moment. Eye of the Tiger was popular. Tainted Love from Soft Cell, another song we just talked about. This week was the debut of Vacation from the Go-Go's and the debut of Eye in the Sky from the Alan Parsons Project. Those are both on the charts at this moment. It's funny. I Want Candy, once again, Malcolm's idea. His first idea, actually another song from the past for them to cover, was the Archies' Sugar Sugar. That was the first idea, but they went with I Want Candy instead, which was a remake.
Oh, this was so much better.
It's a much better call, honestly.
Yeah. It was a remake of a 1965 hit from a band called The Strangeloves. But this song, I Want Candy, much more popular as far as chart success in the UK. It went to number 9 there. Also, the first single, Go Wild in the Country, that song was a top 10 hit in the UK too. That song's pretty cool. If you guys don't know that song.
That song was probably my favorite. That was my favorite of the ones that I dug into, for sure.
Alex, you might I felt like when I heard it, I'm like, this sounds familiar to me. Like something about it, it's in the deep recesses of my brain. They played Top of the Pops at this time, which was a big deal. They went on tour with the Pretenders. They went on tour with the Police. And I heard interviews with Annabella talking about these tours where, to us, that sounds amazing, but it sounds like the crowds weren't very receptive to them. In fact, they threw things at them, hated them. She talks so much shit on the crowds. In the interviews I watched with her, she hated the crowds.
Well, especially from what I understand, they also were touring with Queen, and the Queen fans were so negative towards them that similar story that you've told on this podcast, Chris, they pulled an American Hi-Fi and were quickly dropped and replaced with a different band on that tour because the crowds for Queen were not into what they were doing. But they did tour Japan with Madness, which is probably the band that makes the most sense of all the bands they toured with. It's like Madness fans would be into this. That's who you should be on the road with. But Chris, this is another one of those tale as old as time for us because they have this hit. They're finally making it. They crank out one more album and then the story ends pretty much right. Like the band breaks up. I want to say a year after this song explodes.
Well,
for a while. Anyway.
So I got to say, once I Want Candy kind of hit, they started getting a little bit of what we'd see big time in the 90s, started getting a little bit of accusations of you guys are sellouts.
Oh, wow. That didn't take long.
Right. Well, they were a band that had a punk rock ethos, and all of a sudden they have this poppy song that is a cover, and it's literally I Want Candy. Just think about that melody. There's just something so bubblegum about it. And they started getting that tag of selling out a little bit. And they had a follow-up single called Baby Oh No. I listened to it. It's okay. It's very accessible. It's very much just pop music. It's not very punk. And in August of 1982, shortly after they have this success, Malcolm McLaren's like, I'm not going to manage you guys anymore. He was bored. And Boy George, in this documentary I saw, he said of Malcolm McLaren, he's someone who's capable of being absolutely brilliant, but he regards success as being against what he believes in. So he achieves success and then wants to destroy it. So Malcolm being it's so funny too, because he leaves managing them. He becomes an artist himself. He started rapping. And actually,
Buffalo Girls and Duck Rock.
Yeah. He actually has like success with those songs. It's so weird. It's such a weird turn for him.
Also, I mean, I don't. Even as a kid, I was like, this is so lame.
Yeah. It is very strange. And so he leaves the Bow Wow Wow camp, and it was shortly after they released their second full length, When the Going Gets Tough, the Tough Get Going. Annabella wrote all the lyrics on the album. She said she was glad they weren't puppets anymore to Malcolm. They had a lead single on the album, Do You Want to Hold Me, which went to number 47 in the UK. It was their last charting single in the UK. They planned on doing a world tour to support the album, but tensions were rising in the group. I mean, at this point, keep in mind, Annabella is still a teenager. She's going through teenage things. And in September of 1983, she was fired from the band. She found out she was fired from the band by reading it on NME. They claimed...
that's so brutal.
Yeah, the story that I heard, it was her telling the story of what happened, was that they just got done touring. She was sitting at home, and they called her and said, hey, can you meet us for a band meeting? And she was like, not today. Like, I'm exhausted. And then, like, a day or two later, she reads that she had been kicked out of the band for storming off stage at a show in America. And she was like, how is that possible? Because we're in England right now, and I'm sitting on my couch, and we didn't have a show recently in America. Like, they just made up some bullshit reason why she got kicked out of the band, quote unquote. And yeah.
I mean, the story I always heard about the end of the Talking Heads was that David Byrne was, promoting his first solo record, and they were asking him about the Talking Heads, and out of frustration, he was like, we broke up. Yeah. And that's how they broke up.
Right. And then also Annabella was also in a contract, so she still had to like release solo music after this. So the rest of the guys formed a band called Chiefs of Relief, and then the guitarist became Matthew Ashman. He became the lead singer. He actually got diabetes pretty young. He died in 1995 with complications from diabetes at age 35.
Wow, that's so young.
Yeah, it is. Annabella, she remained with RCA Records. Her first solo release was in 1985. It was called Don't Dance with Strangers, which was produced by The System, who were a synth pop duo. This song is real whatever. It's like, I don't know. There's no magic there. She formed a new band called, this is funny, Naked Experience. And she collaborated with like people like Billy Steinberg, who co-wrote Like a Virgin, True Colors, and Eternal Flame. In 1994, she released a couple singles billed as Annabella Lwin. The song's called Car Sex and Do What You Do. Car Sex is such a weird song. It's the mid-90s by now. And then it's the same old story of like, along the way, they had some sort of like half-ass reunions. She's still continuing to perform as Annabella Lwin of the original Bow Wow Wow. Her website says any shows advertised as Bow Wow Wow without Annabella, featuring a hired singer from another band, are done without knowledge, permission, or consent. And before you... So I guess they tried to do that. Like, age-old story, man, of, this sort of one-hit wonder. Some of the members try to do it as something else, and Annabella's trying to do it. In January of 2020, they assembled a new lineup of Bow Wow Wow, and they toured with the Motels and When in Rome too.
Yes, because there's that. I was going to say the same thing happened with When in Rome. There's When in Rome and When in Rome 2.
Right.
As those two guys went their separate ways as well.
This kind of stuff is, it's barely worth mentioning. It is worth mentioning that Bow Wow Wow was pretty influential. I know one band, which totally makes sense when you hear the music of Bow Wow Wow, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were pretty influential.
Oh, yeah. That does make a lot of sense.
Totally makes sense. In fact, the band is even name-checked in the song Suck My Kiss, which includes the lyric, swimming in the sound of Bow Wow Wow. No Doubt was another band influenced by Bow Wow Wow. In fact, Adrian Young, the drummer of No Doubt, played drums for Bow Wow Wow from 2003 to 2005, and he said it was a dream come true to play with the band that he grew up idolizing. And if you want to talk about some serious influence, my favorite director, well, maybe one of my two favorite directors, Sofia Coppola, said that she drew a lot of influence from Annabella Lwin when she was conceiving the style for her film Marie Antoinette. And she drew parallels of Annabella's story with Marie Antoinette's story, and that they were both young girls who found fame and fortune at a ridiculously early age. And I thought that was pretty cool. Because
Nice.
yeah, absolutely. But look, we're going to talk Thunder or Blunder. But before we do that, do you guys want to play a game? I brought a game.
I'm always down to play a game.
Yes.
I want the honor of defeating my favorite podcaster in a trivia.
Not a chance.
So here's the rules. You guys are going to get 7 questions. You can buzz in by saying bow, wow, wow. Whoever says bow, wow, wow first, that's how you buzz in. If you can get it without the multiple choice, it's worth 2. If you guys agree you need the multiple choice, you'd get 1. If you try to answer it without the multiple choice but get it wrong, you're going to get -1. So keep that in mind. Be confident. You better be confident, or else you could risk getting minus points. All right, here we go. I Want Candy was featured on the soundtrack to which 1996 film, known for its themes of environmentalism combined with drug use, sexual innuendo, and toilet humor?
Oh, Bow Wow Wow.
Go ahead.
Biodome.
You got it.
Yeah.
I was thinking way too highbrow.
I knew loving Pauly Shore in the 90s would have paid off.
I got to tell you, Matt, well, everybody, when we were recording our the newest Punchline album in Lancaster at the Kaleidoscope, we happened to be there on April 22nd, and these guys who were like friends and run that studio, they have a yearly tradition of on Earth Day, they get all their friends together at the studio and have a party and on a big screen watch Biodome. And we were there for that. I was like, this is such a funny tradition. That's the first time I ever saw Biodome. Terrible movie, by the way.
Yeah, but it features the first appearance of Tenacious D.
Oh, okay. All right.
Really?
Yeah. Tenacious D plays a circle drummer acoustic duo band performing outside of the Biodome. It's like very early in their music career, pre-Mr. Show.
All right. Matt takes a 2-0 lead.
Yes.
I Want Candy was originally by the Strangeloves, a band created in 1964 that pretended to be what?
I have a theory, but not confident enough to go all in on it. Alex, you want to do multiple choice?
I need to. I have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Strangeloves pretended to be what? A, astronauts. B, Australian. C, monsters. D, the Beatles.
Bow wow wow.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say A.
That is incorrect. Not astronauts. Matt, you got a 1 in 3 chance.
Okay. Remind me what B was.
B, Australian.
Oh, Australian. Okay, so Australian monsters or the Beatles. 64 seems really early to try to pretend to be the Beatles, but also that's the peak of Beatlemania. So I'm going to go with D, the Beatles.
No, it's actually what made Alex laugh the hardest. It was they pretended to be Australian.
Okay. I thought it had something to do with like Dr. Strangelove coming out that same year or something.
That's why I thought astronauts.
Yeah.
I was like, well, astronauts are like adjacent to nuclear.
Yeah. They all pretended to be
bombers.
riding bombs. They
All right. Matt maintains a 2-0 lead going into question 3. Drummer Dave Barbarossa played in what 90s band known for their hit Ready to Go?
Ready to go.
Dude, I'm bombing on this.
Yeah, I'm multiple choice, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. A, Veruca Salt. B, Garbage.
Oh,
C,
fuck.
Babes in Toyland. Or D, Republica.
Bow wow wow.
Go ahead.
I should have given myself a couple more seconds. It's Republica.
It is Republica. You know that song, Alex? You look puzzled.
What song did Republica do?
Baby, I'm ready to go. On
From
the rooftop, shout it out. It was
You know
like
that
a
song?
Brit. It was like a
yeah,
Brit
I know
punk
it.
band.
You know how I know
Yeah.
it? I know it from car commercials.
It was. I was gonna say car commercials, and I want to say that song appeared in like 40 films in the late 90s. Like it was definitely a. Oh, this is a teen film in 1997. I think they're listening to Republica right now.
Speaking of car commercials, a quick aside. I got to tell you guys, past One Hit Thunder guest, Tom McGovern, I see him every day of my life in car commercials for CarMax. He plays in this band called Wolves of Glendale, and they like play songs in the commercials. Like they make these funny commercials. I'm like, oh my God. And every time I go, I know him. And Marquitte's always like, I know, you know him. I get it. But
He talked about the laws. There she goes with us
Yep.
on a podcast.
yes, he
once.
did. And he's always in car commercials now. Okay. Matt, you got a 3-0 lead, but you still got a shot here, Alex. During Boy George's short stint in Bow Wow Wow, what was his stage name?
I looked this up. Shit.
Joy Borge.
Fuck.
Again,
You know what? I'm gonna go for it because if I get this, it'll be amazing.
Okay.
Bow Wow Wow.
Go ahead.
Was he Captain Lust?
No, that is incorrect.
Damn it!
Now, Alex, you got a 1 in 4 chance of getting this right, so I'll give you the choices. A, Lieutenant Lush. B, General Malaise. C, the Big Boy. Or D, Sergeant Sultry.
oh, Sergeant Sultry is what I'm going on based solely on the previous answer.
Oh, no, it's actually Lieutenant Lush.
God damn it!
It was so close. Fuck.
I made myself laugh with adding the Big Boy in there.
Captain Sultry is very funny though.
Well,
General,
Alex, the good news is that means it's up for grabs if you want to use that as your new stage name for a project.
Also, this is only funny to me. Also up for grabs, General Malaise. I think is pretty funny. Okay. A remix of I Want Candy is featured on the Marie Antoinette soundtrack. It was done by Kevin Shields, who is the lead vocalist and guitarist.
Wow, wow, wow.
Go ahead.
God damn it.
My Blade Valentine.
You got it.
Oh, no, he
Nice.
takes a lead.
No. Oh, yeah, it's 2-2. It's 2-2.
No, I lost 2. Oh, I lost 1 point.
You lost
That's right.
1
Okay,
point.
cool.
Ooh, we got 2 questions and we got a tie game. I like it. This actress, known for her roles on Mad Men and The Handmaid's Tale, and who is also sadly a Scientologist, was born the same month that I Want Candy hit its Hot 100 peak in
Bow
July
Wow Wow.
19. Go ahead.
Elizabeth. I'm not looking it up. For fuck's sake. Elizabeth. My brain is saying Perkins. That is not right. She was married to Fred Armisen. She was in the movie Invisible Man. She was in Nope or Us for a minute. It's not Elizabeth Banks. It's not Elizabeth Perkins. It is Elizabeth Mad Mennington. I don't remember her last name.
Elizabeth Van Bennington, I think is correct answer, actually.
Damn, I almost want to give it to him, but God, it's too important. The last name's too important.
Oh my God, I'm trying to remember her last name because I just rewatched. Okay. Whenever he forgets it, I got this for 2 points.
I'll give you 5 seconds, Alex.
Nah, you gotta take it.
All right, Matt.
The word you were looking for was Moss.
That is
Elizabeth
correct.
Moss. Card says Moops.
Oh man, so that's a major swing because that means it went from 2-2 to 4-1. Unfortunately, dumbass Matt is going dumbass Matt's going to win this game. But I always root against him, Alex. But I'll give you the last question just for fun.
Okay.
After being acquitted of all murder charges the previous month, this actor was convicted for receiving stolen property the same week that I Want Candy hit its Hot 100 peak in July of 1982.
There was an actor acquitted of murder in 1982.
Give me a second because I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I feel like...
I have no clue on this.
I'm
you wanna go
gonna
multiple
bow
choice?
wow and see if I can pull this one out. If not, I was
Okay.
at like -1. Was it
Yeah, you'd
Robert
be at
Blake?
0.
You'd be at 0. Robert Blake is his answer.
Yeah, and you are at 0.
All right, hit me with the multiple choice because I have no clue here.
All right. Who was acquitted of all murder charges but then convicted for receiving stolen property the same week that I Want Candy went to number 62? A. Kato Kalin. B. John Holmes. C. Steven Seagal. Or D. Rob Schneider.
I'm going to go with B.
Yeah, it's John Holmes.
Yeah.
Also,
I
once
wish-
I said
I wish Rob Schneider
once I said
murdered
Robert
somebody.
Blake, I realized that was like in the early 2000s. God.
All good. It was a good game. All right. Matt unfortunately wins, but we got to decide if Bow Wow Wow wins a certification from the One Hit Thunder podcast. We'll start with you, Alex. Bow Wow Wow. Thunder, Blunder. I don't think we got to bring out Hinder or Greenwood, which are lower than Blunder on this one. Thunder or Blunder, how you feel about Bow Wow Wow?
I mean, from the two songs that I know, I'd say Thunder. I mean, I Want Candy's a jam, and C30, C60, C90 Go is also a jam of a different stripe. It sounds like there was some pretty terrible stuff going on behind the scenes, but if that were the litmus test for whether I listened to a band or not, I would listen to like two bands. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going Thunder.
That's the sad reality of music. But yeah, I mean, their music was fun. I enjoyed diving into their catalog. And like you said, super influential band for a lot of bands that I, in the 90s, grew up loving. So I'll give them the Thunder for this one.
All right. Is it going to be unanimous? Yeah. I mean, this band's great. I mean, they're really good. And I mean, I think Annabella's really good. She was a great front person for the band. And yeah, some of the stuff about their backstory isn't great, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the music's good and Annabella seems cool.
Annabella seems really cool.
I feel bad for her, what her mom went through all of this, but Annabella's cool as hell. And I hope I didn't come off like as an apologist for anything here in this episode.
You're stating facts. You were doing what the news is supposed to do, which is unbiasedly telling us what happened.
I'm not even, I'm basing it off of what Annabella says in interviews, even more recent interviews about this stuff, it's weird, but it's not like, from her perspective, criminal or something, even though maybe it should be.
I was looking at interviews from literally 2025 and she still was speaking very nothing bad happened to me. It was just exploitive. But she, I mean, we have to take her at her word at that. If she says that nothing else happened besides them just very misappropriately using a teenager for promotional materials, sure. But before we sign off, Chris, I wasn't joking when I said that we are here with my favorite podcaster, whether it's re-listening to Reply All or diving into new episodes of Hyperfixed and Amityville. Alex, real quick before we sign off, if people are new to your insanely prolific podcasting career, where can they go to check out what you've been up to most recently?
Well, I have a sort of documentary journalistic podcast called Hyperfixed. People write into us with problems that we then solve. You can find that everywhere at Hyperfixed Pod. Also, I'm doing a podcast where we're watching every single Amityville movie called Amityvilleville. You can find that at Amityvilleville everywhere you find podcasts or on social media.
You know, I got to say before we close this out that I haven't listened to Amityvilleville yet. So, of course, go subscribe to that. But I cannot recommend Hyperfixed enough. If you're listening to this podcast, it's not hard to hit subscribe on a podcast. It's free.
No.
It takes 5 seconds. Subscribe to it. Let a couple episodes get pushed to you. Something will grab your attention, and then you'll be hooked just like Matt and I are. I cannot recommend Alex's work enough. So, Alex, I really appreciate you coming on again. I hope you'll do it again. I hope you have fun here.
Absolutely. Yes. Friend of the show.
Okay.
From here on out. I will absolutely come on
Love it.
whenever you guys want me to.
Yes. I love making a cool friend of the show.
If you think that I don't notice, you're not looking me in the eye, and you're blind, and I don't have the time to sit here and wonder just what's under your skin tonight. And I know that there's a problem.
This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Afalios of the band Punchline and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me, you're hearing Heart Transplant off the Punchline album, Action. Visit punchlinemusic.com for any upcoming news on the band. Our podcast is on Patreon now. Find us at patreon.com/OHT podcast for early access to episodes, bonus conversations, and a chance to vote on future songs for us to cover. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on any of your podcasting apps, and tune in next week for more One Hit Thunder.
Tearing up my past now. Yeah, it wouldn't show you how I feel, would it now? But those inside jokes and things we know are the furthest thing from my mind. You let one slip and I forget and smile.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
In 2021, the wife and son of Alex Murdaugh, an attorney from a prominent South Carolina family, were found shot to death. The story captivated the nation. That's when we began the podcast Impact of Influence. In March of 2023, Alex Murdaugh was convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and their 22-year-old son Paul. The latest, Alex Murdaugh was granted a new trial by the South Carolina Supreme Court citing jury tampering. The case will be tried before the end of the year, and we will be on top of it. Get Impact of Influence wherever you get your favorite podcast.